From the Wall Street Journal this afternoon, they are claiming that Michael Cohen, the president's former fixer and personal lawyer, is now under investigation for possible tax fraud. New York federal prosecutors are looking into possible underreporting of his taxi medallion business on federal tax returns, plus failure to provide proper documentation for bank loans. We should point out that Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, declined to comment out of respect for the ongoing investigation. So Bob Bianchi, Caroline Polisi back with me, MJ Lee joining us, our CNN national political reporter, and just again reaffirming for you, so possible tax fraud, all going back to his days in New York City with the taxi medallion business.
Right, and we've known for a while that investigators have been very interested in his business dealings and the work that he's done, particularly in the taxi medallion business. So we know that there are a wide range of things that they've been looking into. Obviously, we know that investigators have taken a ton of information from his home and his office, his hotel room. I think the big question is whether, since we are talking about things like loans, things like financing, potential bank fraud, whether these things end up touching on anything that Michael Cohen might have done that is related to his work for President Trump. If you think about the fact that he was the person who was involved in setting up this payment to Stormy Daniels, we know that $130,000 ended up coming from Michael Cohen. As investigators look at his business dealings, do they at some point decide, well, this sort of touches on the work that he did for President Trump, and then do they sort of make the calculation that that information might be helpful for them to get directly from Michael Cohen? And those are obviously questions that we don't know about, don't know the answer to yet. But I think, if anything, this is just yet another reminder and sort of confirmation of what Michael Cohen already knows, which is that he is potentially in a lot of legal trouble. And he doesn't need another headline to tell him that.
Which we'll get into other potential pressures to cooperate. But first, isn't this just follow the money trail for prosecutors?
Absolutely. And we know that Michael Cohen's former business associate, known as the Taxi King of New York, recently took a very good, what we refer to as sweetheart deal, a no jail time deal. You have to wonder what he gave investigators for that deal. I don't think this was a surprise to anyone, Brooke.
It's all the smaller fish to get to the big fish.
Yeah.
Why do you think, why could this be part of the reason why Cohen and his team maybe have also declared public war on Trump? Are they looking for a deal, do you think, Bob?
I think that's a great question. Two great developments happened. First off, here you go. Classic scenario, almost like the Manafort trial. A lot of money, medallion company goes down the tubes. What is happening? You have tax evasion, bank fraud. It's almost like virtually the same thing. It's like fraud people 101 on how to get in trouble. But here's the thing, Brooke. On Sunday, when President Trump tweeted out that tweet about Don Jr., now understand, prosecutors only want to use you as a cooperator if you've got valuable information that they don't know about. And Cohen has been gyrating in every way possible to say, here I am, somebody look at me, please. The president knew about the Trump Tower meeting prior to the meeting itself. So in an odd way, the president's already fit part of what the prosecution needs. It was for political purposes, therefore, that they were trying to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. That could be a violation because you're not allowed to accept money from a foreign entity or a foreign person. And now the second piece is, what did he know and when did he know it? Cohen, now because of that tweet, is more important to prosecutors than he was on Saturday.
So Cohen, former Trump lawyer, current lawyer being Rudy Giuliani. We also have one more piece of news today from Dana Bash saying that today, tomorrow, we're expecting the volley back from Team Trump back over to Robert Mueller, the special prosecutor, essentially saying, no, we don't want our guy. We don't want President Trump answering questions in person that have anything to do with obstruction, right? They're okay on collusion, not okay on obstruction. If you're Robert Mueller, I'm looking at you, Caroline. If you're Robert Mueller, do you just accept that? Do you say, okay, and still get the man in for an interview and then maybe juke left and ask a question anyway? I mean, how does that work?
Absolutely not. I mean, if you're Robert Mueller, you're thinking, okay, I've got the law on my side. We have, of course, the Nixon precedent, but it's not exactly on point in terms of if this went to a subpoena, if this went to a fight and it got up to the Supreme Court. I think likely Mueller feels like he has the law on his side, but that's going to take time, Brooke. So, they want to get him in there on a voluntary basis to be sure, but not, Giuliani doesn't get to be in the driver's seat in this instance. Mueller is a special prosecutor. He gets to set the guidelines. He gets to say what he wants to ask. This back and forth is ridiculous. It's all dramatics. I think, quite frankly, I think this is all just a front. I don't think President Trump has any one bit of an intention of going in there and sitting down and
He's a
talking
total
with them.
ruse when he's
Total
like, I'll
ruse.
go in,
Good
I'll
cop,
decide
bad
what
cop.
my lawyers
Good
are
cop,
saying.
bad cop.
Quickly,
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, first of all, it's essentially an admission that we're not worried about collusion, but worried about obstruction. Mueller is only playing a little bit of a game here. He calls the shots. I was a head prosecutor. Here's how it works. You either come in or you don't come in. You answer all our questions or you don't answer all our questions. Mueller's just protecting the record to say, I tried. He's not going in because you don't want what happened Sunday happening in front of federal investigators.
Bob, Caroline, and MJ, thank you so much. Appreciate that enthusiasm, Bob Bianchi. Bring it every time.